News of Heorot's plight had spread like wildfire across the lands, carried on the wind by bards and whispered in hushed tones around crackling fires. Beowulf, a young Geatish warrior renowned for his strength and courage, heard the tales of the monstrous Grendel and the despair that gripped the Danes. The whispers spoke of a creature of darkness, a shapeless horror that stalked the grand hall of Heorot, tearing warriors limb from limb and leaving behind a trail of blood and fear. These tales were not mere rumors. Beowulf, fueled by a warrior's spirit and the promise of a king's gratitude, knew the truth behind them. He had heard the legends of Heorot, a mead hall once filled with laughter and merriment, now shrouded in an oppressive silence. He knew of King Hrothgar, a noble ruler burdened by the shadow of Grendel, his once vibrant kingdom now choked by fear. The decision to travel to Denmark was not taken lightly. Beowulf, despite his youth, was not a man who rushed into battle without careful consideration. He knew the stories of warriors who had met their demise at Grendel's hands, their names etched in the grim history of Heorot. Yet the warrior within him, the one who craved glory and sought to prove his mettle, yearned for this challenge. His preparations were meticulous. He chose 14 warriors, the bravest and most loyal among the Geats, men who would stand beside him in the face of any darkness. Each warrior was equipped with the finest weapons and armor, their blades honed to a razor's edge and their shields emblazoned with the Geatish sigil. The journey across the churning sea was fraught with its own perils. Beowulf, ever the leader, kept his men focused and their spirits high. He shared tales of past victories, of sea monsters he grappled with and giants he slew, his voice resonating with the echoes of a warrior's legend. These stories fueled the fires of their courage, reminding them of the strength they possessed and the hero who led them. As their ship neared the shores of Denmark, the weight of the mission settled upon them. The once proud Heorot, now a symbol of despair, loomed before them. A lone watchman stood guard, his weathered face etched with a mixture of wariness and a flicker of hope at the sight of these foreign warriors. His eyes, haunted by countless sleepless nights, scanned their ranks, searching for a glimmer of the heroism whispered in the tales. "Welcome, warriors," the watchman rasped, his voice rough with disuse. "News of your arrival precedes you. We have awaited heroes for long, for Heorot has become a place of shadows and nightmares." He gestured towards the hall, its once gleaming facade now marred by deep gouges that seemed to claw their way across the stone, a grim testament to Grendel's savagery. Beowulf, his heart heavy with the weight of the task before him, stepped forward. His keen gaze swept across the desolate landscape, taking in the shattered remnants of what was once a grand entrance, the bloodstains that refused to fade despite countless scrubbings, and the chilling silence that hung heavy in the air, broken only by the mournful creak of the wind through unseen cracks in the decaying structure. "Tell me," Beowulf's voice boomed, echoing through the desolate courtyard, "of the beast that haunts this hall. What horrors have unfolded within these walls?" The watchman shuddered, his voice barely a whisper as he recounted the previous night's attack. He spoke of the blood-curdling screams that ripped through the night, the sounds of a struggle so fierce it shook the very foundation of the hall, and the chilling emptiness that followed, a grim confirmation of another life stolen by the creature. As the tale unfolded, the Geatish warriors shifted uneasily, their faces reflecting the grim reality of the situation. The despair that had clung to Heorot like a shroud was now a tangible presence, a cold dread that seeped into their bones. Beowulf, his gaze unwavering, listened intently. He observed the subtle signs of fear etched into the faces of the Danes they encountered, the way their eyes darted nervously towards the shadows that seemed to writhe within the hall, and the hushed tones in which they spoke, their voices barely above a whisper. Heorot, once a beacon of revelry, now stood as a monument to a bygone era. Cobwebs draped the decaying rafters like ghostly fingers, and the once vibrant murals that adorned the walls were now chipped and faded, their depictions of joyous feasts a stark contrast to the desolate reality that surrounded them. Extinguished hearths stood cold and silent, a chilling reminder of the joy that had been extinguished within these walls. Within the hall, Beowulf observed the remnants of the previous night's feast, a scattered tableau of overturned benches, spilled ale, and gnawed bones. The air itself seemed thick with sorrow, a palpable weight that pressed down upon him. He knew, with a warrior's certainty, that this was no ordinary foe they faced. This was a creature that thrived on fear, a creature that had woven its darkness into the very fabric of Heorot. As they were ushered into the presence of King Hrothgar, the aged monarch's weary eyes held a flicker of hope that Beowulf could be the hero they so desperately needed. The king, once a beacon of strength and leadership, now bore the weight of his people's despair etched upon his face. He spoke of Grendel in hushed tones, his voice heavy with the burden of countless sleepless nights spent listening to the creature's blood-curdling howls echo through the desolate halls. During the somber feast that followed, fragments of ancient legends were shared, tales of a monstrous mother who birthed Grendel, a creature of even greater ferocity and cunning, her wrath whispered of in hushed tones and feared even by the bravest warriors. These chilling tales, though spoken in hushed tones, cast long shadows within the hall, foreshadowing the even greater challenges that awaited Beowulf. As night fell, an unsettling quiet descended upon Heorot. Omens seemed to swirl around them, a sudden storm brewing on the horizon, a raven circling the hall with an unsettling cry, and a sense of unease that hung heavy in the air, a premonition of the battle to come. An old woman, her eyes clouded with the wisdom of countless years, approached Beowulf, her voice a raspy whisper as she spoke of cryptic dreams and ancient prophecies. She warned of sacrifices that would be demanded, and the inevitable dance with mortality that every hero must face. Beowulf listened intently, his stoic expression masking the turmoil within. He knew the path he had chosen was fraught with danger, but the warrior within him burned with the unwavering resolve to face whatever horrors lurked within the shadows of Heorot. He had arrived not just as a warrior, but as a beacon of hope, and though the weight of the coming battle pressed down upon him, he would not falter. The whispers of monstrous mothers and the echoes of ancient prophecies swirled around him, painting a grim picture of the trials that awaited, but Beowulf, the son of Geatland, stood undeterred. His arrival in Denmark marked a turning point, the first step on a hero's journey that would forever etch his name in the annals of legend. The desolate halls of Heorot now held not just despair, but the promise of a battle that would shake the very foundations of the kingdom, a battle that would be sung of for generations to come. Thank you for watching. Please comment below what you would like to see next.